Well, it seems as though the grain markets may be crawling their way back a little bit. Let's take a look at where we now stand with our quotes provided by Bar Chart. Okay, let's go to the big board. On the corn, we have the nearby December now only a penny lower. We're at 5.39 3/4. We're off of our earlier low this morning by about 4.5 cents right now. The March is down too. If you go way out there into next fall, the market is as much as 5 cents lower out there. In the soy meal trade, you now have November up 16.5. Look at them go. 12.52 1/4 is the last trade. And we have January up 16 3/4, and we're trading at 12.63. So within about 2.5 cents or so of our high of the day at this point. Interesting market action there. Now in the soy products, if you look at the meal, you have the December contract $2.50 lower. We're at 321.10 per ton. If you look at soybean oil, well, here you have the December now 263 points higher at 61.46. Well, that's an interesting move. So obviously that appears like it may be leading the soy complex. Now in the wheat market in Chicago, we're down 4 3/4 cents on December at 7.51 3/4. In the Kansas City market, December is down 8 1/4 at 7.46. So again, they're apparently picking on the Kansas City wheat today. And December Minneapolis wheat down 2.5 cents at 9.27 3/4. Well, let's bring in Brian Hoops here of Midwest Market Solutions. Sort this all out. All of a sudden, a big move in the soybean market. What's causing it, Brian? You're the man with the answers, I hope. Let's see.
Hey, good morning, Marlon. Yeah, we're seeing a huge rally in soybeans this morning. It's on the basis of soybean oil. That market has been moving higher, and that's spilling over into the soybean market. But you were talking about earlier in the program about harvest lows in soybeans. I think we are carving them out. This is the time of year where you do normally make harvest lows in soybeans. And we're right on some major weekly support, and so you got to believe that this is kind of a bottoming process. We've made new lows here, and now we're reversing, have an outside day higher, pushing us into positive territory and some big gains at the same time. So corn, I think, has made their lows much earlier than the soybean market back after the September supply and demand report, and now we're 3-4 weeks later. Soybeans making probably their harvest lows right about now and trying to reverse out of here. So upside, that's what the question, $1 million question everybody wants to know is, what do they do with their product? Do they, if they're selling it, do they re-own it here? There is probably some upside potential in these grain markets, corn and soybeans. It's likely limited unless we have some more issues like we did last year with South American weather.
Wanted to touch on, excuse me, rice, and on the rough rice right now, yeah, pretty steady on the market, not much going on. Brian, we'll take a look at the livestock trade right after this. Well, let's go back to Brian Hoops. Brian, I was going to ask you, any word on cash cattle trade so far today?
We've seen some 124 trade in the Southern Plains yesterday. I think when I talked in the morning with you yesterday, we talked about some bids at 124 in Kansas, and that really got the market excited because October came into the trading session heavily discount to that 124 bid. And there was some trade at that price level. Now we're seeing in the north maybe some 122 trade today. That's not as exciting, and the market's already aligned with that. But it appears that our northern trade, it's going to be a little softer this week. We have heavier cattle there we're trying to work through. Southern trade is going to be a little bit stronger. And the market did react to that yesterday with that big rally in the futures. We're seeing some follow-through buying here in the cattle market this morning. But, if we can see a bottom in the box beef, maybe we can add a couple more dollars to this market. But really, getting October back up into that par territory with 124 may be all we can expect this week.
So October is 50 higher right now. We're at 123.12, and you have December gaining 30 cents at 128.35 per hundredweight. Now on the feeders, well, with the corn market the way it is today, it's interesting where you have feeders surging ahead with November 237 higher. It's now at 157.40 per hundredweight. That would put us about $0.50 from our earlier high of the day. The lean hog market here so far today, it has had some issues. We have the December contract down 87. We're at 82.22. Now, February, April, and May, the far out deferred months, are all showing losses of more than $1. Brian, and talk to me about this hog trade. What's the deal? Why is it being bear spread today? Or excuse me, yes, that would be bull spreading, I guess, technically, wouldn't it?
Well, you're right. I think you're right about the spreading, Marlon. I think it's spread against the cattle market. Last week we pushed cattle lower and rallied the hog market real sharply, and then starting yesterday we saw a reverse of that or unwinding of those spreads where cattle market gained substantially, hogs were down. We're seeing more buying in the cattle, more selling pressure in the hogs. So it's a lot of spread trade between the two meat complexes.
Well, wanted to get your thought here before I let you go. What's your opinion on what the oats market is trying to tell us? It is back below $6 now. A little bit ago, it was about 601.
Right. Yeah. Everybody says, where oats goes, the grain trade grows. And so we're hoping that the grain markets follow the lead of the oats complex here. They have very tight supply of oats. We don't grow a lot in this country anymore. We grow it from Texas all the way up into Canada. And the crop in North Dakota and in Canada was curtailed. And that is going to be a dominant factor for spring grains, durum, spring wheat. All those stocks are going to remain very tight and very tight supplies through the winter months, just like this oat crop, until we can start putting oats in the ground again and see another crop of harvested early next spring.
Brian, great information today. Always enjoy talking with you about your perspective on the markets, and we'll talk with you again here real soon. Brian Hoops, he happens to be the Midwest Market Solutions, and he is located in Springfield, Missouri. Again, I'll remind you, Janet, keep an eye that crude oil market surging ahead today. Once again, the Dow was firing up again too. So we'll keep tabs on that, and Scott will have more coming up in just a little bit.